We're with Sam Creamer, ladies and gentlemen. The 5 most important things you can do to avoid legal problems. What else you got, sir?
I would say that although these items are common sense, it's shocking how uncommon common sense actually is. And the third item we would say is don't take legal advice from someone who's not a lawyer.
No.
Truly. Now, there's this lawyer in the box stuff, and there's this, online, and everybody knows somebody that did it this way or that way. But just because Charlie did it a particular way does not mean it's the right way. And if you are undertaking to do your own legal work, well,
No.
anyone who represents themselves has a fool for a client. So the point is that you've got to look at what it is you do and focus on that, on the voodoo you do. If you need the services of a lawyer, get the services of a lawyer. If you can do it yourself, do it yourself. But to the extent it's a legal matter and you want to avoid legal problems, involve your legal counsel.
Got it. Just do what you do.
Do the voodoo you do.
Got it.
The fourth item that I'd like to bring to attention today is what you say you do, you ought to do. Now, I know again that sounds like common sense, but I'm particularly referring to things like employee handbooks. With an employee handbook, you've got certain types of procedures and policies, but oftentimes in business, those get ignored, those get put on the shelf, right up until there's a problem. And I'll tell you, the problem really occurs when you have to discharge somebody. And all of a sudden you look back and you realize, well, there hasn't been the warnings that you said you would give them. There hasn't been the policy enforced as to absences or sick leave.
In other words, you're not doing what your written policy says you're going to do.
Do what you say you do.
Yeah.
Now, it's also, of course, important when you're dealing with another party to actually produce, do, or perform in accordance with the expectations. Again, hopefully those expectations are memorialized in some type of contract. But to the extent you do what you say you're going to do, it will absolutely minimize your legal exposure on matters.
What about proof of performance? How should you be able to prove that you're doing what you said you were going to do?
I think that that's very important, and that could be some type of receipt, that could be some type of acknowledgement, and quite honestly, it could be something as simple as an email. But it's one of those things where if you can confirm and get the other party to confirm that what was required has been provided, again, that will minimize your legal exposure.
We're talking about 5 most important things you can do to avoid legal problems with Sam Creamer of the Creamer Law Firm. All right, we've covered 4.
Arguably, the last, in my opinion, is the most important, and arguably, it's the easiest and the hardest of all of these items.
Which is?
Don't be a jerk. First of all, people don't sue people they like working with.
There you go.
Okay? And whether that's, the way you conduct yourself, whether that's your staff, whether that's, just don't be a jerk. There's an apocryphal story about, actually it was a law student who went to
It's very good. Yeah, you're right.
who went to a professor. And as it so happened, that particular law student had been overserved. And he went to the professor and he said, "Professor," he says, "I want you to teach me all the law while I stand on one foot." And the professor looked down at him. He said, "Son," he said, "that which is hateful unto yourself, do not do to others." He didn't say do unto others as you would have them do. He said that which is hateful unto you, which you don't like, don't do to others. Michael, if our listeners don't get any of the messages of this interview, I'd like to leave them with that formation of the golden rule. That which is hateful to yourself, don't do to others. And if they can follow that simple maxim, they will avoid 90 to 100% of all the legal problems that will confront them in their business.
Got it.